This is the Galaxy Fold 8, the brand new passport size kind of form factor for Samsung's foldables. And this is the Galaxy Fold 8 Ultra. Both very nice, both very expensive. But what's the difference and which one should you buy? This is actually a really big deal because we haven't had a new type of Galaxy Fold since the Flip back in 2020, and the original Fold only came out in 2019. So from today, you'll be able to pre-order the Fold 8, the Fold 8 Ultra, and the Flip 8. Just quickly though, normally I'd make a whole video on the Fold and also the Flip, but this year it kind of feels like the Flip 8 is, well, it's been forgotten about. They put a new chip in it, there's a couple of new software features, the cover screen looks a little bit different. Frustratingly, this is probably the smallest update we've seen to the Flip ever. And it's 100 quid more than last year, so I think if you're eyeing up a new Flip, just get last year's Flip 7 and save a whole bunch of money. That's the end of that. So back to the Fold 8 and Fold 8 Ultra. These two do have a lot in common, although the Fold 8 Ultra is a little bit thinner, while the regular Fold 8 is a touch lighter. But they use the same materials, they have the same displays, except for the size difference. They also both use the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy chip, and that's for every market, unlike the Flip 8, where here in the UK and Europe we get the Exynos version. Even though this is the Ultra, and it is better in some ways, and I'll explain why in a second, this just makes more sense. Because look at this, with YouTube playing on both the Fold 8 and the Fold 8 Ultra, you can see the difference in the black bars. The difference in aspect ratio means you're actually utilizing a lot more of the screen when you're watching videos and movies. But then switch around and use it vertically, and this is so much better for using social media apps and scrolling through websites. So the outside screen, the cover screen, is 5.5 inches in a 10:16 aspect ratio. But then unfold it and you have this 7.6-inch main tablet screen with a 4:3 aspect ratio if you're using it in landscape and a 3:4 if you're using it in portrait vertically. The downside is when folded and you're using it like a regular phone, it's pretty girthy. It really is about the size of your passport. So texting and using it one-handed does become a little more challenging. It is still pretty comfortable. I didn't feel like it was jabbing me in the palm too much, but I need to spend more time with this and I'll report back in my full review. And make sure you've subscribed for that, by the way, and let me know if there's anything you want me to test. I am really curious though, which size, which shape do you prefer? What would you get more out of between the Fold 8 and the Fold 8 Ultra? Because I've never really understood the benefit of the traditional foldables that we've had so far with this sort of square tablet screen. It looks impressive to unfold, but I've never really found the use case for it. Although there is also a question over why anyone wants to spend this much money on a foldable when you could just buy a regular phone for a lot less money. Now this is always tricky to show on camera, but have a look at the crease, because this new improved display is basically exactly the same on both new folds. And versus last year's Fold 7, here's one I made earlier, which was already a big step up over the Fold 6, you really can see and importantly feel the difference. It's almost completely gone now on the Fold 8 series. And this is thanks to a new titanium alloy film and also a new flexible titanium plate, both sitting under the OLED screen, but offering much more flexibility and strength versus the older polymer. Combined with the addition of the anti-reflective coating and also the 3000 nits of peak brightness with Samsung's Vision Booster, of course, both the tablet and the cover screens are absolutely stunning. Although sadly, once again, no S Pen support. Since they removed the digitizer layer in the Fold 7, I don't think that's coming back anytime soon. They've also refined the hinge, which apparently is now easier to open, but it does also seem to have more tension to it, so it's more likely to ping back shut if you don't open it enough. They've also squeezed in some pretty big batteries. The Fold 8 has a 4800 mAh cell, the Fold 8 Ultra 5000. That's up from 4400 last year. Oh, hang on, wait, stop the presses. I have more information for you because this is the first time Samsung are using silicon carbon batteries. There's an element of silicon in it. I think they're using a silicon carbon anode. Either way, it doesn't drastically increase the capacity. We've gone from 4400 to 5000 for the Fold 8 Ultra, which is a nice bump, but it's still not like the 6000 or so that you get like on the Honor Magic V6. However, interestingly, Samsung say that the priority here is optimization and efficiency. And actually, they're quoting 27 hours of video playback versus 26 hours on the Honor. So if we're to believe Samsung, I have to do my own testing of course, despite having 1000 less mAh battery, it's actually getting an extra hour of video playback. And that's due to the battery technology, the efficiency of the screen, which, if true, is pretty impressive. And they're also really prioritizing long-term battery health. So behind the scenes, some actually really big battery improvements and Not only that, we now get 45-watt wired charging and 20-watt wireless charging. That's up from 25 and 15 watt respectively. So big bump to battery, big improvement to efficiency, and also faster charging. That's quite a big upgrade. But no Qi 2, which means it doesn't have the magnets in the body of the phone, so if you want to use it with MagSafe style peripherals, you're gonna have to put a case on it. Oh, hang on though, there is something important you need to know. For some reason, Samsung decided to remove all the flex window features, abilities that we get on the Fold 8 Ultra and the previous Fold 7, 6, and so forth. So when you partially fold it, nothing happens anymore. It doesn't kind of optimize for the two screens. Not the end of the world. I can't say I use Flex Window all that much, but it seems like a bizarre omission for a Fold 8. The good news though is that you can use the cover screen as a viewfinder for the camera. For me, that's like one of the biggest reasons to get a foldable, so you can frame yourself and use the higher quality main rear cameras. And you can still kind of fold it and then point it at you and use it as its own tripod. But let's talk about the cameras, because I've never really been blown away by the camera systems on these Folds, particularly from Samsung if I'm honest, but they've been fine, particularly with the Fold 7's updated 200 megapixel main camera, and it's also a triple camera setup, plus an upgraded 50 megapixel ultra wide, that's up from 12 megapixels last year. So one of the main downsides of this new, slightly cheaper Fold 8 is you only have a dual camera system. There's no 3x optical like you get on the Ultra. And the main camera is only 50 megapixels, not 200. So it's fine, but it's not going to blow you away, particularly if you like to zoom in for your photos. So in terms of quality and quantity of the camera setup, the Fold 8 Ultra is a step up. Although they do both share the same selfie cameras, the one on the front cover screen and also the one on the tablet. We also get One UI 9, and that's on top of the brand new Android 17. And it's all very familiar, although there are a couple of new features, including what they call this fan cam. Essentially, it's like an auto reframe where it uses AI to edit a video and track a particular subject, and then you can change the aspect ratio. And there's also a couple of new features like Now Nudge, and the Galaxy AI is giving you a more agentic experience. The photo gallery's been improved. There's a few bits and pieces that I'll dive into in the full review. But importantly, I've left the big thing, the big question till last. What color are you going to get? Because the Galaxy Z Fold 8 comes in this very nice lavender, a cream, graphite, and this online exclusive pistachio, which I think may be my favorite, whereas the Fold 8 Ultra comes in violet shadow, cream, graphite, and also the online exclusive violet green. How much, you ask? Well, basically everything's gone up 100 quid. The Flip's 100 quid more expensive, the Fold 8 Ultra is 100 quid more expensive, now starting at $18.99. Starting. So that's 256 gigs of storage and 12 gigs of RAM. You've also got 512 and a terabyte option, which will be ludicrously expensive, but of course everything's getting more expensive. There's a memory crisis, you've probably heard about it. But the Fold 8 is $16.99, so it's 200 less than the Ultra, and actually 100 less than last year's Fold 7. So there isn't an awful lot between them price-wise, and if you're buying on a contract, then, you know, maybe a couple of pounds a month different. It's not that significant. But not only have Samsung increased the prices, but they're not doing their double storage pre-order bonus anymore. They may still have some pre-order offers, and maybe better trade-in deals, and I'll leave links in the description, but it is going to be harder to justify buying one of these. What would I go for? Would I get the Ultra with the telephoto camera lens and the slightly better main camera? Slightly bigger battery as well, but I reckon that would probably even out to be about the same. It's just the form factor, and if you want the slightly better camera, that's the reason to pay an extra 200. Honestly, all day long, I'm gonna get the cheaper Fold 8. I think it's much more interesting, refreshing to see a different kind of fold from Samsung, and I just think it's a smarter design. But altogether, you know, the new chip, the improved display that's brighter, tougher, the crease is less obvious, significantly bigger battery, particularly for the 8 Ultra versus last year's Fold 7. I'm excited to use them both, but I'm more excited by the Fold 8. What I am definitely less excited about though is the Flip 8. So let's just say you had a couple of grand burning a hole in your pocket. Would you go for the new Fold 8 or the Fold 8 Ultra? Or wait and see what Apple does?